All right, start recording. It is 7:24 on Monday, February 19th. It's Family Day. I hope everybody's having a great Family Day. Our Family Day is this conversation that we're having for the next, let's say, 15 minutes. And then we're going to go eat something. And by eat, Kyle is going to enjoy the company of some young ladies. And I am actually going to go eat something. I don't know if you're actually going to go eat something. But anyway.
Crazy. I'm definitely going to eat as well. Yes.
The question is, what are you gonna eat?
All right. Well, now that we're clear on no kids being on the podcast,
It's a genuine question. Like, what are you saying? Even if kids are, anyway, only the adults know the underlying tone of my conversation.
I'm a cannibal now. That's right.
We can survey that later, or maybe ask ChatGPT to tell us what the kids would think.
All right. What do you got for us in terms of conversation, Mr. Host?
So we're just gonna wing it because we don't have an agenda. This is officially our third attempt at recording this. We've been having a lot of technical difficulties. This is still, let's just say, a pilot attempt at having a meaningful conversation where people actually would listen and don't run away. If they haven't ran away already, it's you know,
Fair enough. Where's your mind been lately?
I think we're gonna need more than 15 minutes for that. But yeah, just a lot of personal growth, which is something that's always on my mind. Actually, for somebody who's 41 years old, now this is gonna get depressing. Like, what'd you ask me that question for? This is my defense mechanism for not wanting to talk about the dark and you know.
But I do think it's interesting to note that the question affected you that way, but by no means do we need to have that type of conversation. I've always got a million things to talk about. If I want to take the wheel, if you want me to take the wheel, why don't you ask me a question?
If you want to take the wheel, how about you ask me a question? That's not you taking the wheel if I'm asking the question. And also, I'm lagging again. Do you notice? God damn it. This is. It can't go out like this. But do you not agree that if you're taking the wheel, that I shouldn't be asking questions? Because asking question is facilitating.
You were uncomfortable with the question, so then
Oh,
what I mean, so that I am the one who's talking, or at least leading the conversation. Because once you ask the question, I'm going to answer it, which is going to establish a topic and subject matter,
okay.
uh, leadership.
Fair enough. Okay, how about we just go on your question, which was, what have I been thinking about recently? Is that what you asked?
What's been on your mind? Yeah.
I'll talk about the things I guess I can talk about. It just I don't know why the worst thing came to my mind first, but some of the stuff is a business plan I've been thinking about. So I'm putting together two business plans for two different businesses. I say different, where in fact they're the same, but they're slightly different. And I'm also reading or listening to a very highly recommended book, and so far it's been a great experience. I've been taking it seriously, so I'm documenting everything that I'm reading, so I learn as I go through. Like, I don't want to just go and say I finished it. I try to do that when I read or listen to books, but not to this level. So this is fairly new. Like, I'm back in school, taking notes. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's a very effective way to learn, like in terms of learning reading comprehension as a skill. taking notes, especially taking notes as if you were going to teach it after, is regarded as, oh, look who's here.
Let me try to minimize him so it doesn't take your screen. Actually, yeah, go ahead. I'll try to edit this as you're talking.
Um, mm, yeah, I was just saying it's good practice to take notes while you're trying to learn. I've recently had the experience of starting to contribute to a work journal while I'm going through my work day, and I've noticed it helps me. So it helps not just learn, but also in terms of performance to process your thoughts while you're engaging in the activity. So love that you're doing that. Um, I'm sure we can deep dive into both topics, but what's more exciting to you right now?
Mm. Yeah, I guess I'll jump into the excitements. Also try to fix my camera so you can see me. Um, so I don't want to finish on that because I feel like you brought up a good point. Where it's like it talks about being intentional with your reality. So it's like when you journal and then you reflect on it, uh, you're more attached into your reality and you're more conscious about the things that you're trying to do. So I think that's important. No, that's what I'm talking about. Um, yeah, yeah. The book is. I guess I already mentioned it to you. Like I don't know if I want to get into it for our audience. We can go deeper into it, but you mentioned. Oh, between the two. Oh, okay, I see. I see. Okay, I thought you meant like just in general. Um, um, um,
Conversation, you know?
good point. So exciting. They're both exciting. I think they complement each other, but I wanna say, the business plan is more action oriented. So I'm more excited about to get to the end of it. I know that it's gonna be a grind, but I feel like it's gonna give me a level of clarity about my businesses. That I should say at least one of them is our business, or I could anyway. I don't want to get into the details of contractual agreements, but yeah, I would say the business plan. Um, yeah.
Just a side note, I clicked the three dots over Bijan's autopilot, and there's a don't watch option. I pressed it, and it actually didn't change anything, so never mind. But cool. So business plan. I suppose it'll be most strategic for us to now between the two of them, either based on what's more interesting or what you think would generate better conversation. I'm obviously better acquainted with the business that we're working on together, but they're related, so happy to talk about either. And I have some competency when it comes to the microservice project. Apollo Sync, was it?
That's it. Apollo Sync. Yeah.
Yeah. So which one do you want to chat about?
Let's chat about the business plan because I feel like that's the one I want to get more
I
of the
mean, for
ball.
which business?
Oh, I see. Let's go with the high performance. Sorry, the human performance lab.
Nice. Cool.
Let's chat about that because I feel like we're gonna be both contributing in terms of conversation a lot more.
Yeah,
Because essentially
agree.
that's our baby together.
Yes, it is.
Trying to take care of the baby, but the baby needs a business plan, you know? So that's although Kyle already has been working on a business plan and this is his Sistine Chapel, and I'm only a small part of trying to bring his Sistine patch up.
I wouldn't say small. That's not significant. Uh, seriously,
Yeah.
the like while peer support is the product, that is the ed component of the ed tech company. And while I do think obviously the peer support is the flagship product, I don't think it would be a fraction of what it would be, a significant fraction of what it will end up being because it is dovetailed by the tech. Peer support is awesome, but the tools that reinforce learning and performance are what is gonna. I'm not that I'm comparing the two. I'm just complement each other really well. Too much to minimize one or the other.
Fair enough. I just wanted to mention the fact that you've been working on this concept way longer than I have. Um, I guess the products that we're trying to build does entail a lot of technology, but I feel like there's a whole human factor to it that also needs to be mentioned. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure there is. I guess to introduce the topic, um, what is your impression of the Human Performance Lab? Like when you think about what it is, what we're trying to do with that project, how do you frame it?
So at a base level, what I like about it is being able to improve your human capacity. That's just as a general base, regardless of the stuff that we're working on. I guess that's where my energy comes from. That I want to always be improving, and I have been throughout the years of my life on this planet, and I still have gaps that I'm trying to fill. But if I don't know what those gaps are, I don't even know what to fill. So there's a level of awareness that comes with the Human Performance Lab. So that alone, for selfish reasons, is a tool that I want to use to get a let's just say a diagnosis of my different skills, and then find out where I can improve and just become a better human. Um, that can benefit my life and the life of the people around me. Now I feel like I'm giving a speech, um, but but yeah. So that aspect of it, I'm already in. As far as the Human Performance Lab platform that we're building, um, what excites me is not only the fact of these individual tools that will exist that complement each other as a whole for you to get a holistic view of your performance, let's say. Um, the reason I kind of hesitate is like I start thinking about the competition. So I'm thinking I was doing some research today, and then I realized there are a bunch of tools that do parts of what we're trying to do, and but I haven't seen anything that takes everything into one place. So one place might be I want to learn uh, to speak better. So my speech is better. My sentences are more efficient, for lack of word. Uh, how many ums and ahs and pauses and distractions are within my conversation? How long do I take to make a point? All of those little nuances. So there are apps that help with those specific skills. But what I like about the Human Performance Lab is that it's going to be a combination of different tools. Um, yeah.
Really appreciate that. It's meant to be a holistic approach towards learning and performance, and so just being an education platform wouldn't be enough. Just being an educational tool wouldn't be enough for what we're trying to do. I definitely appreciate the attention towards competition, particularly it doesn't take up a lot of focus or energy or attention on my mind per se. It does in terms of developing the product, but only as a reference point, really, not in terms of fear or anything to that end, because I truly believe when it comes to entrepreneurship that if you scratch your own itch, you're going to scratch it in a way that nobody else can. And I think because Grow is built to scratch our itch primarily, and the Human Performance Lab is built to scratch our itch primarily, that nobody's going to be able to do it quite like us. I really believe in our competency and our lived experience and our understanding of learning and performance. And so I'm honestly not worried. And then there's the conversation, like the practical business conversation of market cap and niche in terms of industry and marketing and sales and whatnot. My current market for Grow, and by extension the Human Performance Lab, is post-secondary students in Canada. And so unless somebody's actively targeting them or marketing towards them, they're not particularly on my radar in terms of negatively impacting the business from like a competitive standpoint. So for all those reasons and probably many more, I think it's useful in terms of developing product to reference it, but it doesn't stress me out.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, once the business plan is into place, there's going to be a lot more clarity around competition. There's going to be a lot more clarity around direction of where we want to go. But I've never written a detailed business plan before, so I'm also learning about it. Yeah, I've put together like this is what I'm doing this year. These are my quarters, and then what 5 years is gonna look like, what 10 years is gonna look like. I've done that kind of exercise, but I've never actually put together a professional, detailed business plan as, let's just say, somebody who studied to be like in the world of business would do, which is not my realm, and I'm learning as I go along. Uh, yeah, there's a little bit of a lag again in my video, which is distracting. So I'll just put it on you. Hopefully my audio is okay. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, maybe maybe we can turn the conversation towards the business plan. It sounds like so your energy is flowing. So what elements of the business plan have you been thinking about and working on? Maybe we can touch on those.
So I haven't started at all as far as the actual document goes, but I have. I sorry, I was looking at the browser and then your screen went away. But I'm just trying to pull up some of the notes that I made about it. Uh, anyway, technical difficulties. But just to answer your question, as far as the document goes, there's no document. But I've been watching a lot of Patrick Bet-David videos where he talks about business plans, he talks about life plans, he talks about emotion and logic, and sometimes you need to find some sort of an emotional driving factor for you to uh, set certain goals, and how to, at the end of the day, once you have your detailed business plan, to come up with like a one sheet business plan that you
Mm-hmm.
laminate and you have a look at every day, where it has goals, and in those goals you also have habits, so the habits tend to complement the goals. So let's say you want to get married, or you want to have kids, or whatever life goal that you have, or you want to have a girlfriend or whatever, then you need to change some habits in order to achieve that, as a simple example. Or maybe your goal is to save more money, or you need to get funding, or whatever it is, or come up with a business plan. So you need to change some habits. So it that's what I liked about it, that once you go through this detailed business plan, you can come up with like a cheat sheet of the business plan, more of a guiding, uh, let's just say, manual script. It's not that big to be like at least the one sheet, but you get the gist of it.
A North Star, maybe
Yeah,
like a big focus.
yeah, exactly. And as a reminder, um, to also review and make sure you're on the right track. And so that's what I like about it. But yeah, nothing on paper yet. I am. Um, this is a recent focus, so, but it's definitely a focus to give me some clarity.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that relates a bit to how I'm using the project management tool within the Human Performance Lab. It has the OKRs on the master master task tracker, and then it has the OKRs, which are the objective key results, like the big goals for the year for Grow, and then it has the key results that resonate with them beside it, and in the weekly and daily pages, there's a section for what the goals are for the week and whatnot. So there is attention paid to that, which has been really helpful for me. So it's cool to hear that BPD does much of the same. It's a lot like affirmations, I
That's
think.
PBD, but yeah.
Sorry, PBD.
Don't be sorry. Yeah.
Sounded like I did it on purpose there, but I was actually half trying to do it. But anyways, yeah, I feel like the reason why I put the OKR and key results in the project management tool is for the same reason that I say affirmations and a mantra twice a day. It's the same reason why I think people in religious contexts, especially in the Islamic religion, pray so much. It's to reinforce their relationship with their faith, and
Yeah.
in doing so, it guides their steps more, which I think is a beautiful practice. It actually experiencing that and seeing close friends of mine experience that has really motivated me to, yeah, to make it a part of my life in all different contexts.
Are you saying you're a Muslim now? Is that what you're saying?
Now,
Thinking about it?
I have thought about it. I have thought about it in the last couple of years. I am the godfather to a Roman Catholic child, which is a factor to consider. And I was raised Catholic. I don't particularly ascribe to a religion at the moment. I see a lot of beauty in various religions, but my overarching point and perspective is that there's a lot of beauty in devotion and in grounding to purpose connected to something bigger than yourself, which is why I get a lot out of doing this work. And it's why I picked this as a project. It doesn't have that much to do with financial gain, which is obviously a measure of success, but
Mm,
it's not the point.
yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, religion is always a polarizing conversation. Um yeah, I was just curious because I feel like it's the first time you're talking about it. So, as far as considering religion or Muslim, like Islam, um, yeah, I feel like there are certain things that I find sacred that I don't usually share. Uh, but I know that the world has shown me certain things that is difficult to ignore. Like it's in your face. Like when it's in your face, it's hard not to see it. So and again, it's sacred, so I don't want to get too much deep into it. But I just want to um, your self beliefs. So the beliefs that you have. I'm not saying people not to talk about it. Everybody's different, but for me, because it's a place where I haven't cultivated to the point that it should be, and I'm working on that. So that's why it's more sacred for me. So it's like I'm still trying to figure out my relationship with it in some ways. Uh, so, but I feel like there's a source of energy there that can potentially give you a superpower, like a superpower that um, pushes you to do the impossible, or what appears to be the impossible.
Yeah, I actually feel really strongly about this. So does my favorite philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, which I'm compelled to introduce into the conversation now. I think that the idea of needing to get that strength from somewhere else is, at least in my perspective as a student of Nietzsche's, is problematic. I don't think it's bad per se. I think that it uh, I think that it's beautiful. I don't think it's necessary, but I do think it's beautiful and productive. I personally have a there's a duality there for me. I think when you I think when you have the quote unquote right or ideal or purist relationship with spirituality, that you see your strength as a gift and a shared a shared responsibility, or a shared like inception or something along those lines between like the higher power and yourself. It's something that you both take some credit for and are grateful grateful for it, in the sense that it was a gift.
Hmm.
And I've seen people, I think the best version of it is to not lose the authority that owning that strength gives you, but to acknowledge that you're a conduit for something greater, whether it's music or sports or just like a great moment in in human history. People usually talk about themselves as an instrument of something greater, and I think there's definitely something beautiful to that and true about that. Myself, I think that I get a lot of energy from feeling like I'm in control and have authority and responsibility for my gifts and my ability to use them. But by no means do I think that my performance or success or anything really is completely up to me. So I have an interesting relationship with it. I know you said you didn't want to get into it, but I thought it would be worth expressing.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like getting into it. I just don't like sharing the sacred aspects of it. At least for now. Um, I guess in a way that means I don't want to get into it. But it like I like to listen to it. If somebody wants to share their beliefs, that's fine. Um,
Some feedback or reaction to what you just heard.
I agreed with almost everything you said. Um, like I'm even hesitant to say almost because I can't think of something that you said that I didn't agree with. Um, but I feel like somewhere along the way, I lost that relationship with my spiritual side. Let's just call it. Um, and not for any specific reason. Um, but I could probably put together some reasons if I really thought about it. But at the end of the day, I feel like most of the reasons were um, they felt react. Yeah, there's a series of reasons I can think of, but I feel like the theme was mostly reactionary, like as in telling Santa Claus, sorry, not telling Santa Claus, telling kids that there's no Santa Claus, and then you find out there's no Santa Claus, and you just want to go scream to the neighbors and tell everybody there's no Santa Claus, versus understanding the essence of Santa Claus. So it's like I, it's still nice to give cookies to your dad who's dressed up as Santa Claus. It's still a kind thing to do. It doesn't diminish that. It doesn't diminish the fact that it's bringing joy into your life because Santa is associated with gifts. Um, Santa is real in that sense, you know. So somewhere along the way, I had a similar relationship with my spirituality that I'm like, okay, there's no Santa, and I'm so mad about it. But then as life went on, I felt like, let's just say Santa showed itself in other forms, not in the forms that I expected. Uh, and it was sometimes certain patterns they're on, like I can't, the sacred part is me talking about those incidents, right? So I don't want to lose that. So it's for me. It's like, let's say, you know how they say you want to give like a beggar money uh, because it makes you feel good. That it's like you're helping somebody, and some people record themselves doing it. I feel like you lose that. So it's like I don't want to. I just want to do it here, and I'm good. For now at least. Um, yeah.
I was asking you for your opinion on mine, and you went there yourself.
Yeah, that's true. I guess, well, you said opinion, so I try to think of like feedback, I guess you said. So I agreed with what you said. I just wanted to kind of give myself courage to reflect on that too. So kind of we see that we're not too far off where we think about this subject.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm just pointing out that you went there yourself. So I
Yeah,
think there's something to say about that. Not
yeah,
that you need to say it, but
yeah.
there's definitely something for you to reflect on there. But anyways, cool. We were talking about the Human Performance Lab. You were telling me about. I had originally asked like what use, how you see it from a high level, and you talked about how um, the functionality of it and its benefit. You talked about usefulness of it and how exciting it is for selfish reasons, and then we talked about how scratching your own itch is a great way to build a product. We talked a little bit about competition, but yeah, I don't think you actually responded too much to my uh, my sentiment of looking at the competition, like my relationship with competition. Do you think that there's an element of fear that is connected to your mind going towards competition when you start thinking about this, or how do you psychoanalyze?
There's definitely elements of fear. I don't think that's the primary element of it. I think what's higher priority is an element of reality. Like, let's have a look at what the market is putting out there. And when you're excited about an idea, it's always, at least for me, it's in the back of my mind. It's like, what if I discover something that's super amazing, and it kind of deflates me from wanting to continue this journey. Um, but then that's the fear.
The lines of what I want to do, or even better, it would inspire me to try to push it further. So I'm trying to understand why that would be discouraging for you because it's not my.
So you can have a look at this situation in multiple ways where I appreciate like looking at it through the lens of being uh, optimistic and thinking that only good things is going to come out of it, and I appreciate that. But I think um, it feels natural to me to have that kind of feeling. So let's say you have an idea and you start coming up with, let's just call them features. Like it could do this and it could do that and it could do X, Y, and Z, and you get so excited about X, Y, and Z, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be it. This is the key factors that is gonna differentiate us. And then you find out not only other people are doing X, Y, and Z, but they're also doing A, B, C, D, and E, and F. So I feel like it's natural to feel the thing that you got excited about um, already exist. But I get the sentiment of see what exists and build on top of it. So I feel like you have to go through that journey. So the research journey of the business plan, I feel like gets that clarity out. So you're not shocked by the fact that the thing that you're trying to come up with, somebody else did something way better than that, which is kind of related to that whole blue ocean, red ocean conversation that we used to have. So it's like you find out you're not actually blue ocean, but you thought you were.
Yeah. So I was, first of all, I don't think, I mean, I suppose there's an element of optimism there, but I, I don't, for me, at least consciously, when I, when I have the idea, I flesh it out to the extent that I can imagine it based on what I know. And then I do an industry audit to see what's out there and where the like brink of innovation is, like the knife's edge, as it were. And then I look to V2 the idea. And it's like what I'm getting at, the reason why I asked specifically for a psychoanalysis of why you think you respond the way that you do to competition that way is because I'm not even done. Like for me, I'm not in a position to assess whether or not it's going to work until I'm through the creative process. So it doesn't feel like optimism or fear has a place in the creative process, even but I mean at least at that stage, because it's an information gathering uh, part of the process, and it wouldn't be until that research was done and I felt like I had an educated opinion on what was innovative and what wasn't, that I would start to think about competition as well as market cap, which I spoke to earlier.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think in hindsight, and that's the best approach to take, and regardless, because obviously a defeatist type of mentality is not going to get you anywhere. So, uh, but I guess what I was trying to describe is as I'm going through this process of trying to get clarity, and I keep mentioning clarity, is to see exactly that, what the market is, like because this I've experienced this in the past too, where I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, and then you do some market research and you see how saturated the market is. It's like, you know what? I don't even want to get into this. And then there are times that you have an idea, it's like, this is amazing, nobody's thought about this, and then you go and you do your research and you find out actually nobody has done this before, which is also scary because it means that maybe there's a reason there's no market for it, or maybe nobody thought about it. So I think it's a mixed bag. So I feel like going through the experience of building a business plan, like a detailed business plan, will flush out those feelings. Uh, but I still think it's fair to fear, not maybe not fear, to feel fear. I want to say competition, because otherwise, how are you going to get better if you know there was no anyway? I'm still trying to sort this out. Um, well, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Okay, cool. Do you want to go back and forth with the questions, or do you want me to take the interviewer role?
So I was just thinking in terms of time because we said 15 minutes and I think we're at 20 minutes. And I just got a phone call that I have to reply to. Two missed
Okay,
calls, 10
gotta
minutes
go.
apart. Yeah, so I think this was good. I can send you this clip and do what you want to do with it. Actually, before you post anything, I think we already talked about this before because you said you put in a private YouTube account and then you process it. But let me know if you wanna make anything public so I can have a look at it beforehand, please.
Yeah, I usually only make it public for my own purposes so that the YouTube uh, plugin can work, and then I make it private again.
Yeah,
Do you have
that's
an
fine.
issue with that?
No. Just like I mean, like posting on a social network, like a Instagram or Facebook and LinkedIn or whatever. Like that's what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool brands. Cool brands. I was gonna say cool things, but then brands was in my
Cool
head.
brands too. Cool
Yeah.
brands
Cool
too.
brands.
Thanks for the
Okay.
chat, my G.
Thank you. We'll chat later.
I appreciate your vulnerability. I appreciate the energy you brought towards it, the critical thinking, and yeah, the quality of conversation. I feel like it's a healthy habit to end our chats with a little bit of reflection and gratitude.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you're challenging yourself to do something you haven't, not because there's a lack of competency, but because it's a exciting part of the journey and a required part of the journey, at least for our standards. I was asking about your, I think it's important. I just like want to clarify that I'm not looking for you to justify the emotions you were feeling, but to understand them. So like I wasn't asking why you felt fear, but like to justify the presence of the emotion, but rather to like observe and understand it.
Mm.
Um, I just wanted to clarify that because I wouldn't be the psychology nerd I am if I didn't. But it's a process of growth, so I'm excited for you.
Yeah, thanks. And this is good too because this can act as a let's just say documentary type conversation. We'll see what the next ones are gonna be like. What it's gonna be like after I finish the business plan and how I can reflect on this conversation then.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, bro. Chat you later.
See you later. Bye.